Hello everybody. I have no idea if anybody's watching yet, to be honest with you, but I'm just going to get cracking straight away. So I'm just going to get myself sorted out here with the right input source. That's looking good. It's just going to, again, just be a very sort of informal and relaxed approach to things this evening. I'm going to be on for... Ooh, let me just mute this. There we go. Sorry, I just need to find something. A little bit of feedback from my laptop there, so I've muted it now, so I'm just going to use my laptop today to follow the live chat. So hey Era 42, yes, there is at least me and Nee, so yeah, so it's just going to be a very relaxed stream this evening as always. So I don't think I really do stressful streams, do I? So yeah, just going to crack straight on with it really. So just picking up where we left off last night is the idea. So if you have any questions or any comments, just need to get the proportions of this correct on my screen. There we go. One more. Hope you've had a good day, Era 42. Right, so let's just bring up what we was working on. I've not looked at this since last night because that's the whole point of this particular series, is to draw something from scratch so that you see each part of the process. There is no soundtrack today, so as per last night, so kind of bring your own music, I suppose. So the weather here today has been amazing, so I've been outdoors for quite a lot of the day. Let's make this full screen for you. There we go. There we are. Oh, you've had a nice easy day as well. Too cool. Yeah, no, it's I've as I mentioned last night, I've been off work this week as well, so it's been a nice relaxed day. So basically what I've got here, I don't know if it will show because obviously the thumbnail is quite small, but I just noticed on this cover of it's basically the last sort of DVD of the TV series of Evangelion. You've got this wonderful picture of Misato on the cover there. I just thought that was pretty cool. Unfortunately, these episodes are pretty maligned, particularly episodes 25 and 26, as I think the story still goes. I don't think it's been disproven that basically Gainax ran out of money basically to finish the series properly, but I think it's a mixture of that and probably that they were so behind on schedule production wise. I believe is probably closer to the truth, but I just noticed that was quite a good shape to Misato's eyes there, so I'm just going to come in and correct some of that. So, but yeah, it's nice to have the bank holiday next weekend. I'm actually away from tomorrow for a few days it is for work, but it's for my own business, my wedding photography. I'm going up to the north of England, so that'll be nice. I haven't been up north for maybe since Play Blackpool actually. I don't think I've been up to Scotland since then, or the north of England, or indeed Northern Ireland or anything. I suppose I've been over to Ireland, which is where I was in Ireland was a little bit further north than where I am here, so that's about as close to going up north I've been actually. of late, so not particularly, in other words. So what I'm doing here is I'm just reshaping Misato's eyes a little bit, because they are just that little bit more curved. And I'm just going to test with moving this bottom part of the eye up a little bit. No, I don't think that works. Let's stay with there. I have this thing about eyes where I just like to get those completed, because otherwise I just feel like it's not coming together unless I've got the eyes right. And the eyes are just so important to manga characters that, you know, when the eyes aren't finished, I just feel like it's not quite come together. So so I just have this thing about it, really. I'm sure anybody who draws sort of manga and so forth says much the same. Oh, Error 42, just before I forget, thank you for your lovely comment on the Secret Amana t-shirt design. That's very kind of you to say those words. I just was busy setting this up and finishing up with the decorating that I've been doing in my bedroom before going live today, so I've not had a chance to reply, but that's really super sweet of you. Always appreciate the nice words. So yeah, I always work on the eyes most of all to start with, because it just helps me feel like I'm beginning to get the overall sort of feel for what I'm doing, going in the right direction. And a big part of that is anti-aliasing them as well, so smoothing out the look of the eyes and so forth. So the other big thing, which of course obviously is sort of not helping, if I can use that expression, is obviously if we look at Misato there, you know, obviously she's got beautiful sort of it is black hair, but they stylise it as just like this mauve. It seems to be Yoshiyuki Sadamoto's sort of chosen sort of colour for that, which is really quite nice. So, but one of the key things about Misato's character, she has this little widow's peak there, which I was just about to say, do I have a widow's peak? I don't. A little bit of one, but not as much as Misato. Hi, Yori, hope you're well. Long time no see. Yeah, it has been a while, hasn't it? So good to see you. So I'm avoiding Stream Clash today, though, because I'll be watching some Amiga Bill later on, like I'm sure many of us will. So I'm only going to be going on until about 8 p.m. BST, so 7 p.m. UTC. So I hope you're doing well, Yuri, and you've not been working too hard. So what I was just saying about Misato's Widow's Peak there is it's quite distinctive of her, and I just feel that I want to at least get a bit of that sort of drawn in. I'm just going to use this fuchsia colour, which is just my sketch colour at the moment. It's not really indicative of final markings or anything like that. It's just a sketch colour. So, but yeah, it has been long time no see. It's funny when I see a name pop up in a stream that I've not seen for a while. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I've noticed that you haven't been around for a while, and you sort of think, well, I hope everything's been all good. So. Okay. So what I'm doing here is, like I say, I'm just sketching out some very, very rough. These are by no means final. I should really have fixed the background here. I'm actually going to fix the background now. Just because, obviously, I can easily remove these markings if I've fixed the background, but obviously I haven't for those bits, so but we haven't gone too far, so that's the main thing. So yeah, these are just little sketch marks of where Misato's hair is going to sort of eventually end up, shall we say. Just going to bring that down a little. There we go. So yeah, this is just a super late announced stream. There was nothing planned about this, but well, what is planned is what is in my head, is how this will eventually end up. I was saying last night, Ayuri, that the idea is for this to be a darker toned image, hence the darker sort of tone that I've put around Misato here. I just wanted to do something that's a little bit more tempestuous. Because I do err on the side of lightness. I mean, that's just my personality perhaps coming through in my work. But, but then sometimes my lightness hides the more pensive side of my personality perhaps. And I just, I like to create something that's just a little bit darker every now and then. Not dark as in something bad's about to happen, but just in the general mood of the piece. I just want it to look just a little bit more, I don't know, like just more atmospheric, I suppose. So the lightness approach even sort of, is very much part of my photography. If you to look up my wedding photography, you would see that a lot of people would call my style light and airy photography, and rather than sort of like darker and moodier style. It's just, I suppose, what I prefer. I'm just going to bring my laptop screen back on. It's just closed off. Hey there, Miyako. Hope you're well. Good to see you. Hey Colin, hope you're well. A little bit scary to jump into. What? The fact that Misato's got no hair, or the fact that I'm on at this time of day? Or is it something to do with my hair? Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, so basically I'm drawing a crash dummy, Colin. I'm not really. I'm just sketching in very roughly where Misato's hair's going to go, so... So the top of the hair, again, when you're first sort of starting out doing this stuff, it always pays actually to, draw in some actual guidelines of the proportions. It is important when you're drawing this sort of more cartoony style. What I mean to say by that is that whether you're drawing cartoons or specifically manga, as I am here, I think it is very reliant on a set of well understood proportions, because that's what defines the style. There are certain sort of rules, I suppose, when it comes to this style, and yeah, so getting those proportions down when you're sort of first starting out is definitely recommended. I'm doing it by eye, rightly or wrongly. Not overly happy with that. Even though this is just a sketch, I like to feel like I'm in the ballpark. So, because if you're watching this from an educational point of view, it's no good if you're fastidiously watching and I'm just then ended up erasing everything, or yeah. So yeah, I just like to feel like I'm getting things in the ballpark of where things should be. So I'm doing it by eye of roughly the amount of hair volume essentially should be above Misato here. But yeah, I would recommend that if you want to get into drawing manga, that you pick up a book that is going to help you understand a bit about those proportions. I'm just erasing these markings here because it's just not quite right. Because this is actually quite an interesting perspective, I suppose. Because which part? Obviously we're looking up, so it's what is the point that is most close to the viewer. No worry, Phils. Good to see you. Hope you've had a good day. This is a very last minute stream, so don't worry about not seeing any alert. I mean, there is no conscription to join in these streams. It's only if you're around and if you want to. So, but no, this is a very ad hoc stream. It's nothing's planned, but we're just diving into some further work on Misato, which we started last night, as you saw, and yeah. So I'm just roughly sketching in the hair, just very roughly at this stage. So essentially the hair, where the top is here, is going to go way back over here. Yeah, these curves are going to need some serious work. Yeah, they're a bit ropey. Oh, not that one. There you go, just hitting R for the rectangle tool, and then R again should be the box tool. Okay, it's not doing that. Okay, it just doesn't want to. Oh, it's shift, and I should know that by now, really, shouldn't I? Yeah, oh, I've got the grid tool on as well, don't need that. So yeah, just get this bit right. I'd say actually, looking at that, let's just bring that down here. Yeah. So once we've got the hair roughly sketched in, it's going to begin to sort of flesh out the character a bit, which is nice. Which was nice. In case you don't know, I'm not using the wrong tense of to be, I guess, is was, isn't it? I'm just referring to the Far show, where one of the characters comes up with these, pretty outlandish things that's happened, like, and I won the lottery, which was nice. Stuff like that, and shook Debbie McGee's hand. Or something like that, which was nice. 90s British comedy for the win. Red Alert Pixel Artists in Sector 6. Where? Okay, so that's just a very rough outline. I can tell straight away that this piece up here is quite wrong. I don't want to get too obsessed about getting that outline correct, because that is only a sketch line, but I'm sure we could do a little bit better. Maybe I'm not afraid to sometimes use the curve tool rather than always relying on the vertical, just the straight line tool and so forth, because it does sometimes just help a little bit with getting sort of like roughly the correct sort of curvature. but yeah, I don't want to get too bogged down with the sketch, as it were. I mean, I can see it looks a bit squared off there, but it's as I say, this is all about just getting something roughly in that ballpark. So okay, cool. So I'd say that was pretty good for a rough outline of the hair. Okay, yeah, only very roughly. But I just want to try something here. It's maybe the right thing, maybe the wrong thing. Actually, it does look better, doesn't it? I think what I was trying to do with having the lines slightly diagonal is to emphasise the perspective shift, but I don't think it's actually going to be necessary. And I think the other thing that Misato's, I'm gonna, yeah, I can free the background now. So I think the other thing these eyes just slightly need, not that colour, this colour. Just on this side, mind, I don't think this applies to the other side. Is that when you look at Misato's eyes, sort of like the original, there's almost like there's three distinct parts of the curvature that makes up her eyes. Yeah, that looks better. Cool, okay, yeah, I'm just going to introduce a little catch light on this side because that will help with the overall look. I think it needs on there. And also here. Voila. Sometimes a sort of a slight line here helps define just the bridge of the nose here. I'm not sure that will stay long term, but it just sometimes helps a little bit, and you do sometimes occasionally see that in these manga pictures. So I just wonder whether just slightly. Okay. I think that's in the right region. I'm just gonna totally experiment here. Better with or without? It's like going to the opticians. Is that better or worse? I'd say better at the moment. I don't know if you guys saw it, but on Twitter I put, should I do pixel art tonight or games? And there's one big part of me that wanted to do games, because I'm really enjoying some Castlevania at the moment. And there was another big part of me that wanted to make some more progress on this, because I was sort of feeling like, I really hope this one comes together, because in my head it looks beautiful, but of course obviously I've got to realise what's in my head. And it's when you feel like, I don't know if it's going to work, did I do it okay last night, what am I going to change? You want to get on with it, but then on the other hand, you think to yourself, well, but then I'm really enjoying Castlevania, I could really enjoy doing some of that, and, tonight. But my Twitter followers spoke, and here we are. Again, don't want to get too obsessed about this. Until we actually shade in her hair, this is always going to look a little bit voluminous. It's still not right, because this curve here is just too squared off. But we will resolve that. So, and just for what it's worth, I'm just going to paint that in there again. Oops. The white is just the outline of the car seat. Nothing about that is final. It's just a different colour, just so I've got a bit of differentiation there. So the gamer stroke artist dilemma. So yeah, absolutely. So I did want to carry on last night, but I was also getting quite tired. But yeah, and it was also getting quite late. That's the only thing with Wednesdays. They're kind of like, in some respects, the best evenings to be doing something like this, but they're also sometimes the least appropriate evenings. They're the best evening because I have my French conversation class, so the evening doesn't really, apart from obviously sorting out my dinner, doesn't really lend itself to doing anything too hardcore, like starting something from scratch. So it kind of lends itself to that. But on the other hand, it's also the worst evening, because I've had French conversation class, so I get in and I'm quite tired actually, because unfortunately I don't seem to be able to find one right on my doorstep at the moment, and the ones that do exist are just so busy that you quite literally can't get a word in edgeways. So I go a little bit further afield, so it's about 20 miles drive, and of course that does mean that I get in a little bit late, about 8 o'clock, which isn't too bad, but yeah, by the time you sort out dinner, there's definitely nothing else that you can do in the evening. So sometimes the right evening to stream, because you're not writing off from doing anything else, but you're yeah. Okay, just gonna join a couple of little bits here. Right, okay. Yeah, it's looking fine, I'm just going to increase the colours. I'm just going to save this first though. Just go to screen format. So I gradually increase the colours with my pictures. I don't just whack on 32 colours or whatever to start with. Albeit that this one's going to end up an extra half bright image, but it's just because I like to gradually build up that sort of colour. So I'm just going to copy this one here. Let's just try that as a colour. Okay, It looks really quite sharp at the minute, but don't worry too much. Again, this outline probably won't actually stay like that at all. This is just to get a rough feeling for where the jawline is, so as it comes down into the chin. So yeah, so basically what I want to do is just get these eyes finished off. I think that would be a good thing to do. So I need a decent brownish colour, so that's actually not probably the right one. It's just a little bit too desaturated, that one. This one needs to be a more of a I want to say marron brown. I don't know if that's actually a colour of brown or not, because obviously marron in French is brown, so I don't know whether brown is a shade or not, but I seem to vaguely remember there might be a shade that's called marron, but that does seem a bit strange because, as I say, marron does mean brown in French, but whatever. Okay. I'm actually probably going to change these highlights a little, actually. I'm going to anti-alias this shortly, so it's not really perturbing me too much. So there you go. That's looking a bit better. In this particular part, you can see that this is a very iterative process. It's there is no specific path to doing this. It's just you building your own way of working, as with all artistic endeavours. Don't know why that far eye there. It's reminding me a little bit of Rei Ayanami's, another Evangelion character. Her eyes there. But then that's not surprising, because obviously they're from the same anime. And the same character artist, Yoshiyuki Sadamoto, so... There we go. That to me looks a bit more pleasing. So, yeah. Yeah, I did hope to do a game stream this week. But I just think with, obviously, Amiga Bill being on tonight, it's... it would be a bit unfair, and of course obviously I want to see Amiga Bin as well. I keep on moving his eye to see whether I think it looks better there or here. Or even there. Is that where it came from? No. So it's important just to look at the right side, the left side, sorry. I had two choices there, said the wrong word. Look at the left-hand side of the magnifier. Obviously in Deluxe Paint that is the case, because obviously may not be the same in your art package, whatever you're using, but yeah, look at the left-hand side. Sorry, just to see how it is all sitting. Don't just look at the magnified view, because it will only give you a bit of an impression of how it's looking. Okay, yeah, that's looking cool. Don't forget, if you have any questions in the chat of why I'm doing things the way I am, or if there's particular things in Deluxe Paint that you would like to know the answer to, just throw them down into the chat. Don't have to be relevant to what I'm drawing here. They could be something else entirely. Just wonder. Potentially that works. Potentially. Okay, yeah, that's looking good. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring down the... You see, that's quite a colour jump there. Between that and that, it's quite a colour jump, or hue jump. And that's basically the Amiga's 4096 colours, and it's 4 bits per channel colour palette. Whilst 4096 colours seems quite a lot, and it is, and so forth, you do get quite big hue jumps sometimes, so there, but the trick tends to be is to shift the saturation and the value a little, because usually that will jump you back into the sort of like the hue that you were working on or working with, or sometimes you have to bring the hue over just a little bit more as you yeah, but I just wanted to show that sort of gap, because it does occur. And it's just something you have to be a little bit mindful of when creating pixel art for the Amiga, or indeed any lower colour palette system. It's not like 8 bits per channel like you get in your Amiga 1200 or 4000 or any modern system. It's, yeah, there are some quite distinct steps between some of the colours, particularly sort of not quite in the shadow region, but just that bit just above the shadow as you head into the mid-tones of a colour. At least that's what I tend to find anyway, so yeah, actually I'll just leave it there for now. Cool. Right, next shades we need are some greys. Just want to test something here. Might get away with that actually. Yeah. Yeah, so what I need is some greys. I'm not using colour 0 because that's the background colour at the minute. And even though it is quite a suitable grey, I'm not actually going to use that colour again, because eventually I will switch that to be black, so that you don't end up with this quite ugly... it's not shown at the moment because I'm using Overscan, but if you was to look at this with a small screen size, you would see grey around it, because that's what colour 0 is. So it's quite important on the Amiga to leave that as is. So anti-aliasing I always pretty much do by hand. And if those things that you get better at with the more you do it. The idea is quite simple, that you're just using a fairly similar colour of pixel to the one sort of surrounding it that you want to soften. Needs to be like so. Maybe this one just a little bit less. There you go, something like that. They're actually quite close together, because when you look at the RGB values, that's 12 on the channels for each colour, and that one's 9, so roughly about a little bit closer. It also pays to sometimes use the colour of the... I'm going to embarrass myself now by saying this probably, but the iris. I think that's your iris, isn't it? The colour bit of your eye. Never was much copper, all that stuff at school. I should really know being a photographer. I shouldn't have what parts of the eye are called, but you have it. But I'm just going to get rid of it. But yeah, sometimes it pays off to use that colour as part of the anti-aliasing. But just always keep your eyes on that left hand side when you're doing this kinds of stuff, so or the non-magnified part of your picture, depending on what package you're using, because that's going to be key to sort of seeing how the anti-aliasing is actually looking, because it's quite easy to just look at the zoomed in view and not really appreciate the effect of what you're creating. So you definitely want to keep an eye on that. So just wonder if I think that makes her eyes look a bit too big. So yeah, this is just a part which you just need to consider carefully as you're working on it, I find. So because as I say, there are no hard and fast rules of how this should be done, but you just gotta go by your gut feel a little bit on it. So I might just try, just to sate my curiosity, moving the eye just 1 pixel to the left. Oh, I thought I had the brush tool and I haven't. Whoops, idiot. Drawing grey dots on the screen. Once again with more feeling. Nope. I'll tell you what's doing it is the fact that I'm clicking too close to the starting point. I forget that about Deluxe Paint sometimes. Sometimes if you make the next point too close, like i.e. 1 or 2 pixels from your first point that you select for your brush, it can just pick that up as a brush. Just want to see how that looks. Yeah. Let me just unlock my laptop just to catch up to chat. So I was a bit quiet earlier on. So hey, Josh Stady, hope you're well. Good to see you. Hope you've had a good day. I don't know if I like that more or not. I think actually her eye does need to be over here. Yeah, that's better. We'll stick with that. So Phil's got a good question. Is the plan to have a particular number of colours for Misato, stroke the car and the background? To some extent, because this is a static piece of art, you know, it's not going to be... Well, when I say a static piece, what I mean is it's not going to be... you don't have to think about dual playfield colour limitations or anything like that. It becomes a little bit less important to think about where you're placing all the different colours and so forth, I guess. And how many of them that you're using. But it is important, no doubt about it, to at least give some thought towards that. So basically my plan, or what I've got in my head, because there isn't a specific plan, is that actually I think sorry, just let me get this bit right. It's better. Is to basically complete as much of Misato as possible within about 16 colours. The car will then occupy let's just do that as is. The car will then occupy the next 16 colours or thereabouts, and then we'll have Extra Half Brite to play with. So, and I'm mostly going to use Extra Half Brite to help with adding in the shadows, obviously, but also for it's funny, isn't it, how certain things go like so. Yeah, and then obviously there'll be the background graphics as well, which will be sort of scrolling pie in the driver's side window here. So there's not a specific plan, but there is a little bit of a plan. So I might just make this catch light just that little bit bigger. Si possible. Okay, that eye looks good. Let's just come in here and do much the same. Let's just zoom out actually, just so that we've got both in view. But yeah, I mean, obviously part of the trick of all of this is the palette management. It is very important. That's why I don't just rush in with 64 colours or 32 colours or whatever. I'd rather start off quite minimal and build upwards from there. It'll be a bit like, you know, setting out to do a painting and immediately mixing up all the colours. And then you'll be like, okay, but am I actually going to use all of those? And then almost like the colours will force you down a particular direction with what you're creating. Because I often find that when I'm creating like this, that I come up with other ideas on the spur of the moment. Like stuff that I don't see in my mind's eye. and so it's important to not constrict yourself in that regard, I think. But yeah, I have a bit of a plan. The idea is, like I say, Misato probably in about 16 colours. The car, roughly about 8 to 12 colours if I can help it, which will leave 4 highlight colours, if you will, for the background, which will be sort of zipping by the driver's side window. And when I say the car's colours and those colours that I'm going to use for the background, some of those will overlap with some of the reflection colours, which I'm going to paint in afterwards. So, yeah. Usually with backdrops, you usually paint them lighter than the foreground with Pixelart. That tends to be the most effective way of doing things, but sometimes, particularly where you're working with darker scenes like this, you want actually some of the background objects to actually look a little bit darker. That's just purely my taste. That's not the right way of doing it. That's just something that you're going to have to judge on a case-by-case basis with your own work. But yeah, there is the semblance of a bit of a plan. The thing is, I never work any of this stuff out on paper. I just get an idea in my head and I think, oh, that would be really cool, and I just go for it, really. And that's exactly what I'm doing here. I mean, there's nothing to say that, you know, once I finish this, that this won't end up looking like a complete dog's breakfast and it was a terrible idea, but I very much doubt it. It's part of creativity is having trust and faith in what you're doing. So yeah, which is very important, there's no doubt about it. And part of that is going to just come from just sheer experience, really. So what you'll find interesting is that here, for example, these 2 pixels, which I'm just hovering over, when you look at them on the left, it actually look like the different colours just ever so slightly. So, you know, one hardly shows up, the other one doesn't, and that's the effect that pixels adjacent to each other have. So it's almost like having 2 colours without really having them, which is quite an important trick back in the day. So, and of course, obviously, don't forget I have these dark blue colours, which will mesh in quite nicely here. So don't be afraid to use those sometimes. I think we just need to bring that catch light in a bit more if we can, but I just don't know that we'll be able to. Hey Kev, hope you're well. Hey Dave, hey TN Arts, nice to see the 3 of you, so thanks for joining us this evening. Just another very impromptu stream, working on some pixel art, as you can well see. A new name there, TN Arts, good to see you, so hope you're all well. I'm just squeezing in just a little stream just before the Guru Bill is on air in about half an hour. So yeah, good to see you. Thanks for joining us for the first time. I'm streaming live from my real Amiga 600. That's my general go-to Amiga for this stuff. Just because it's compact, it means I can keep it out all the time. So, and an Amiga that you can keep on your desk all the time is a good thing, I think. So, Anthony Becker in the house. Hey there, how are you doing? How's Florida today? Thank you so much for the joystick, Anthony. I've received it. It's different to the Zip Stick, but I shall be trying it out in a future gaming stream on the Amiga. So quite excited about using that. So the opportunity hasn't presented it. If you don't know Anthony Becker in the chat, he's one half of the Guru Meditation on YouTube. So great to see you. Thank you so much for the support and joining me this evening. So, well, I say this evening, it's evening here in the UK and much of Europe now, so but of course I suppose in Florida, what are you, -5 there? Warm and sunny here as well, so maybe not as hot as Florida, but I reckon we've got up to a balmy 68 degrees here, as you would say over there, so about 20 degrees down here in Celsius, so roughly 68 Fahrenheit, so yeah. I'm just kicking back with the Amiga, doing some pixel art, as you can well see, and yeah, just nice to have some new names on the streams, so you're all welcome, obviously, and I always say that if you have any questions about what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, why I'm doing it the way I'm doing it, any general questions about Deluxe Paint or pixel art in general, just throw them down in the chat. I will do my best to answer them, so yeah. Nice to see you all, as I've probably said about 15 times now. So I'm just messing with the pixels here, just seeing what works vis-a-vis the adjacent pixels that I've just been putting in. So there is a lot of chopping and changing at this point, but that's what pixel art is, to be honest with you. It's just working out what works best. So it's 90 degrees in Florida, game set match. So yeah, real Amiga joystick. I'm really so grateful for the joystick, Anthony. It's very kind of you. You know, because, you know, to have something that has the Amiga Corp logo from before Commodore bought them is something I very much treasure, and unfortunately for that poor little joystick, it will be used. It's not going to be treated as a collector's item. It's going to be used, and some would say abused, but I don't abuse my stuff, but yeah. So it's yeah. How are we doing now? Looking better. She's looking like she doesn't actually have eyelashes at the minute, so I'm just gonna get a bit darker in there, so don't want that. There we go. Maybe get some Turrican 2 on it or something, so Eight watching, 82 thumbs up. Come on, guys. Oh, thanks, Kev. That's very kind, yeah. I don't do it for the thumbs up. I do it for the people present, so. But, yeah, thank you so much, Kev. Obviously, the support is welcome, so. Video is jumping. Sorry, what's that about, Dave? Yeah, I've had to up the bitrate on my streaming settings, so if there's any problems, guys, do let me know, because I can always adjust those settings and so forth. I'm trying to, wherever possible, stream in 1080p, but if there are any problems, do let me know, because I can adjust the settings on the fly, make things a bit better. Yeah, 32 degrees, yeah, 90 is hot, so I remember my times out in the States about 15 years ago, and riding through South Dakota in 110 degree heat was something else that really was a bit too hot for my liking, so. I mean, I like the heat, don't get me wrong, but there are limits. I don't like air conditioning, but in that temperature, I love it. So Anthony bought his Amiga, was it the Power Stick, before he had a C64, used it with your Atari 2600, used it all the way through 64, 128, 500, 2000, 1200 Amiga, so no worries. Thanks for joining us, Phil. Enjoy your dinner, so, and to vote. Yeah, I did that earlier on. So, yeah, catch up the stream later on. I'm only going to be going on for about another 15 minutes, but yeah, so it's a dry heat. Yeah, certainly was a dry heat in South Dakota. My God, that heat kicked your ass. So, but yeah. Yeah, it's just very pleasant here today. Oh, what we would call pleasant might be called chilly in Florida. But yeah, no, it's just a very pleasant walk today. I've been outside for most of it today. Went out on my bike twice actually. Once to do what Phil's just gone off to vote, and then again for a bit of a longer ride just to enjoy the beautiful weather. Sat by the beach, as I live near the beach. Had a coffee and a piece of cake, which is very pleasant. And then I rode back. So it's been a pretty super chill day for me, really. That's what you need when you're on a week off from work. I have to say that I have immensely enjoyed my week off so far. It has been so nice to not have to think anything to do with modern computer stuff. So modern computer stuff sucks. Retro computer stuff rocks, though, particularly when your Amiga's involved. So it's a good machine. Yeah, I was going to say my impression of Florida was more of a more humidity, really. So I'm dropping a handful of frames. I'm just going to reduce the bitrate a little bit, guys. I mean, I am on fibre broadband, so in theory I should have 20 megabits up. I'm only streaming 4,000 kilobits up, so you'd think that was within capacity, but you just never know with these things. So let's just bump this down a bit. So let's try 3,500. It's got worse since Dave arrived. Yeah, I mean that generally is the cause of these things, isn't it? No, only kidding, of course. Just flip back to Amiga. Get the right mouse. So you can see how anti-aliasing plays an absolutely critical role in getting this looking right, guys. It's as I say, I always feel so much better when I can see the results of the pixels going down, shall we say, that the eyes are bringing it together. That's the thing. Yeah. But I think, generally speaking, you will find that this looks a little less austere now. I'm not sure if Colin's still in chat, if you're hi, but it was a bit of a surprise for him when he first joined, because it was just like, whoa, that's one serious face going on there, basically. And as we just ameliorate those features, it becomes less intimidating, really. Check the floor for those frames that may be piling up now. Is it any better, guys? Do let me know if me reducing the frame rate has helped. Yeah, I think that looks a bit better, like so. Yeah, I think so. Cool, that's looking fine. I might just slightly change these eyebrows just a bit, so just to be a little bit flatter. No judges, is going to be okay. Yeah, smooth. Cool. Thanks for the feedback, Dave. Appreciate that. So, yeah, swag is... Yeah, I should have allowed the link, Dave. So, yeah, the link should be allowed. I'm just clicking on them when I see them come through. So, I mean, obviously you could have posted any old video there, but I trust you, so... But yeah, swag, as I'm sure Dave will explain, is the Southwest Amiga group. It was a group that originally met back in the 90s here in the UK, one which I used to go to, back when they held meetings in a pub in Bristol. Obviously I left the Amiga scene in the late 90s, and swag wound up, I don't know when, Dave can fill in the gaps, I guess. But they've recently, well, we'll say recently in the last few years, started meeting again. And, yeah, they had their most recent meeting this Thursday, I'm saying the name of the week, Saturday just gone. The day of the week, sorry. And, yeah, it was one heck of an awesome meet. Awesome people, awesome kit. Very diverse kit, actually. It wasn't just Amigas. Quite a few Commodore machines other than Amiga there. So, I mean, obviously C64, but also completely different systems. Like there was a couple of Acorn machines, and there was a Silicon graphics workstation. Just wonder, again, I've probably done this a few times now, but I just want to see. Yeah, that works better for me, that, so let's stick with that. So yeah, you can see that this process is not quick, but then it doesn't need to be necessarily. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Just allowing your next link that you've pasted in, Dave. It was my video. Yeah, well, that is well dodgy then, say. That odd 80s hi-fi, yeah, say. Ultimate 64 running Mario, yeah, I need to play some more of that. I missed the GBA 1000, so that's a bit sad. The Checkmate stuff was awesome, so... Oh wow, you got your Ultimate 64 set up. Yeah, there was Sanjian's, Tim's Ultimate 64, although he's as yet to put a couple of SIDs in there, so... I am with Wi-Fi at the moment, Dave. As I say, it was only last night that I got told by YouTube that you need to bump up your bitrate to 4,000 kilobits per second. So I did that for the first time ever, and this is like literally the first stream that I've had people say that it's jumping. So the GBA was opposite Neil. I've just bumped the bitrate down just a little bit more, just because it must be frustrating to watch otherwise. So I'm going to be wrapping up the stream probably in about 5 minutes, guys, just because I need to just take a moment between bits and pieces here, and yeah, Amiga Bill's on Twitch, isn't he? So I'll probably see some of you guys there. Yeah, at least, yeah, it is 20 to 8 here, so... Okay, yeah, those eyes are fairly good. Quite happy with those. They may yet need a little bit more work, but they're certainly in the ballpark of where they need to be, so... Yeah, that looks quite nice, actually. Yeah, let's go with that. Yeah, I think that's better. Yeah, that looks good. Eyes look great. Thanks, Josh Sadie. That's very kind. So nothing beats handmade anti-aliasing. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, you'll find that Deluxe Paint 4 has anti-aliasing built into it for doing lines and stuff, but really for this kind of stuff you have to do it by hand. It's just not one of those things that you will want to use the built-in anti-aliasing for. Truth be told, Deluxe Paint has had anti-aliasing in the product ever since version 2. It was just hidden away in the perspective tools. But they moved it out of the perspective tools for version 4. But I believe if you drew something like a line in version let me just check this. No, in version 2, but just and then sort of executed a excuse me, a perspective action on it. You would, but without actually changing any of the parameters, it would actually anti-alias whatever you stamped down. So yeah, I'm obviously in that fiddling stage of this now, aren't I? Where I'm just like, I don't know if it's right or not. Yeah, let's go with there. There we go. I think that's how I want it. Yeah, cool. Yeah, you can watch Twitch without joining it, I believe, Error42, so I believe that's the case. If you go on to Twitter, oh, you're not on Twitter either, but maybe you can look at search in Google for Amiga Bill, and you should be able to at least view his tweets, and he will have a link on there for his Twitch stream, and I don't think do you have to sign up to watch on Twitch? I forget now, so maybe it depends on who's doing the stream, perhaps. I don't know much about that, so but yeah, thanks. They do look a bit smoother now. Yeah, you don't. Thanks for coming, Anthony. You don't need to join to be on Twitch. So just search for Amiga Bill on Google. You'll find. I think he's under the Guru Meditation or the Guru Meditate. I forget which. And you'll find a link to his stream this evening, which starts in about 15 minutes. So. Okay, so yeah, it's a little bit closer to where it should be. I think what's still sort of skewing things a little bit is a little bit of the perspective here. So when I say perspective, I mean more sort of actually the shape of the cheek. I think that's still just a little bit off. But I mean, that's better already, even just by very roughly doing it. So that does look better. I just wonder whether just humour me a moment. So just whilst I try this. See, I think do I prefer that? I think I prefer that. Yeah, I think that's better. I think I'll probably change it back tomorrow. Well, I say tomorrow, I'm not actually going to be around tomorrow. In fact, I'm not going to be around doing these streams probably until the next Chrono Trigger Tuesday next week. Just because I'm away this weekend, and then my parents will be here when I get back, so I just want to spend some time with them. So, yeah, this will be the last stream for a few days, so... So, sales of paracetamol will go down nationwide as a result. Even internationally, they'll go down. So, but resume in earnest on next Tuesday. I don't know why I'm fiddling with the shadow here, because I'm going to change it all when I actually do start properly shading where the shadow is going to fall on Misato's face, but. Yeah, I didn't do much to anti-alias the outer edge of the eye here, did I? So let's just do a little bit of that, and then I really will wrap up the stream. So, oh, a few messages. Oh, thanks for the link there, Anthony. That's really helpful. So cool. Yeah, Amazon does own Twitch, yeah. I'm not on Facebook or any other social media, so, yeah, apart from Twitter and here, so... yes, I'm not part of the Facebook scene, so, I'm one of those oddballs. Probably just a bit too much brown in that bit there. There you go. Okay, yeah, I think that's more along the lines of what I'm looking for here. I know this pixel was here before, but maybe it does work better with it in. Yeah, it's just this constant sort of switching and swapping of pixels. You know, what looks best. It's all open for debate, I suppose. Yeah, they do look a bit smoother, like so. Yeah, so it's 10:02 now, so I'm going to wrap up the stream there. Let's just save this. I'll just quickly show you the progress of where we've come so far. And I don't know when I'm going to be working on this next. I don't think it'll be next Wednesday because I'm due to go out with friends that evening. Might be next Thursday. So just watch this space. It's obviously I've got a Chrono Trigger on Tuesday. But as always, the best place to look is my Twitter. I'll always announce the stream in there beforehand. Yeah. Right, stop fiddling now. Save that. Let's show you how we've got to where we are now. Right, okay, so let's show all the files. I'm just actually going to do this in Opus, directory Opus. So let's just go to Docs, Graphics. Oh, hang on, she's not in there, is she? Oh no, she is in here. I wonder if this actually pays attention to the order that you select things. It doesn't. Okay. Can I go backwards with right mouse? No. Okay, I'll show you the outline first. So I started with a very rough outline like so, just to get the basic perspective done. So yeah, so that was the very rough outline. So you'll see some broad similarities. And then if we move on to what we did last night and today, so the first two files would be, the first file is last night, so you can see the very basic sort of point to where we got to. And then earlier on today, I just sketched in the outline of the hair. So again in a hot pink, which won't be in the final picture, but it just needs to stand out. And then by the end of today, i.e. now, we've got to here. So quite a big difference with the eyes, but I always feel better if I get the eyes working. You'll see that the whites of the eyes are really sort of luminous at the moment, so that will change. That will become a much, well, not much darker, but a darker colour to blend in, because obviously this is going to be a darker toned image. But they're quite white at the minute, just for clarity's sake, I suppose, and also because I've just not changed it yet. So, but that will be tinted down, and that will look a bit more like. Let's just bring up the Oscar picture, which I've shown a few times. So, if you compare the whites of the eyes to the whites of the eyes on this picture of Oscar here, you can see that actually they're more of a beigey tone. So, in fact, actually, this picture of Oscar, I did very little anti-aliasing on it, so I just got to a point where I thought, I'm actually quite happy with that. Actually, sometimes there's something quite nice about not anti-aliasing pictures. I know it sounds a bit strange, but I don't know, seems a bit more reminiscent of some console games maybe, or that style of art perhaps. That sort of some Japanese pixel artists just tended to leave things as rough pixels, not all the time, but you would see it sometimes there, which looked pretty cool. But yeah, so the whites of the eyes will actually be much more toned down, so maybe even have a slightly bluish tinge to them, bluish green tinge. So yeah. Hey, Dirty Boy Sing to God, nice to see you. I hadn't seen you for a while. Hope you're well. So yeah. So much for reading comprehension. I know the feeling, Anthony, don't worry. You're still blown away that I do this with a mouse. Well, yeah, there it is. There's the bad girl. My Alpha Data optical mouse, so looking a bit grubby. My hands are a bit messy. I've been doing a lot of painting and decorating this week, so yeah. I've not been doing that with a mouse, so but yeah, it's just patience, really. I mean, I was very kindly donated a Amiga graphics tablet from the Swag Meet, so yeah, so I will be trying it out sometime. I've noticed it won't actually plug into the mouse port on my Amiga 600. I need a little adapter, but I need to just double check whether it will work with the mouse. But yeah, that's basically where we've got to this evening. So I think that's probably it for me tonight. So I'll see some of you on the Amiga build stream. So yeah. No, it's not at all patronising at all. So no, it would take a lot to offend me, to be honest with you, DB. So my elite skills, I don't have elite skills. I just enjoy what I do, and it's always a pleasure to share it. And you know, if anybody ever has any questions, to answer them and to help you out on your quest to improve your pixel art. So let's wrap that up there. As I say, next time I'll be streaming will be next Tuesday. And that would be well, a few days time, won't it, really? But yeah, so it's been fun as always. I hope you all have a great rest of your weekends. Got a long weekend here in the UK, and yeah, have a good one, folks. Thanks for joining me. It's very kind, and yeah, I'll see you guys over on Amiga Build stream. If not, I'll see you guys soon. So have a great rest of your evening. And yeah, when I christen that power stick, Anthony, absolutely, that needs to happen. And yeah, so see you soon. Take care, guys. Bye.